Everybody asks me when I say I'm going to do an interview with Dizzy Gillespie, why Dizzy? So that seems to be a reasonable question to start with. Why you have the name Dizzy?
Well, that happened so long ago that it sort of slips my memory, sort of. But that name was tacked on to me in Philadelphia. When I moved from South Carolina to Philadelphia in 1935, I didn't have a horn. I had just come from school, and so my brother-in-law took me to the pawn shop and bought me a trumpet on time. And he didn't buy a case. And when I used to carry this horn around in a bag, you know, it didn't have the very sophisticated bags like they have now, the leather bag. This was just a paper bag. And well, after playing around Philly for a while, the guys started mentioning me, and they didn't know my name. So they said, you know, why don't you get that guy, that Dizzy trumpet player from down south. And so I became that Dizzy trumpet player from down south, and then that developed into Trumpet Diz. You know, Trumpet Diz. And then one of the guys in the band that I worked with in Philly, he just started calling me Dizzy, you know. And when I went to New York in '37, they asked me what my name was, and I said my name is Dizzy Gillespie, so it stuck. I thought it was a pretty good name, you know.
Chero, where you were born, is a pretty small town, isn't it? What kind of family do you come from? Was it a large family?
My father was a brick mason and a musician, but his living was made as a brick mason, and he played music for a lot of fun. But fun, he used to spend all his money on the instruments, because when I can remember back when I was about 5, 6 years old, a whole lot of instruments in my house, and they all belonged to my father, and he played all of these instruments. But my older brother, I'm the youngest of 9, and my older brothers and sisters didn't seem to be interested in music, and my father used to try to beat it into them. They'd make them sit there and practice, and the moment they got big enough to leave, they left. We went away from home. So there was only 4 of us left up until 1934. And of course, I started playing in the 30s. I was about 12. My father died when I was 10. So he never saw me as a musician, but I imagine he would have been very happy to know that one of his children followed the precepts that he had and about what someone should do for a living.
You became a professional musician more or less on leaving school at 18. But what exactly that involved? Did you play jazz straight away, or were you simply reading dots?
I consider myself a jazz musician all the time from the beginning, because that's all I can remember. When I first started, we thought we were playing jazz only in B flat though. It's a story. This lady, Miss Alice Wilson, taught us all these. We played for assembly, we played for the people, for the kids marching in. We had a minstrel show once a year, and we played for the dancers and the singers. But all everybody had to do was do it in B flat. And then this guy from home had been up north. His name is Sonny Matthews, and this was when I realized it was something else besides B flat. My cousin, my father had a bass violin with they only had one string on it, and since we only played in B flat, I would tune up. I showed my cousin how to tune up that string, where he would make I made a mark here on the fret that would be B flat, and that was a B flat, and made one for F. But I didn't know what the notes were, but I just know the sound of it. And I made this, tuned up, and that note was B flat, and that was it. We played in those keys. Well, this guy from my home named Sonny Matthews, his mother was a music teacher, and he'd been up north. Well, this guy came home, and they told him about this little Gillespie boy that played the trumpet that was supposed to be pretty good. And I was cocky. I thought I played very well, in B flat. And I went down to his house, and he said, "What do you want to play?" I said, "Well, you know." "What do you know?" He said, "Well, you know Nacky Sacky?" I said, "Yeah." And he started off Nacky Sacky in the key of C. And I couldn't find one note in that key. And so when I was so embarrassed, and I cried, and I went home, and I said, well, it must be. So after that, I managed to learn how to read music.